It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. I am excited that you are here today, my friends, because I'm doing something that I don't normally do on the channel. It's a Saturday, and I don't normally put out new videos on a Saturday, but today is a very important day. It's November 11th, which means today is Veterans Day. And I wanted to commemorate this day with a special selection. It's also Armistice Day because November 11th is an historic day, truly historic. Remember, it was the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month when World War I was concluded. And we take this time to focus and commemorate those who have been veterans and who have been active in war and fought for our communities and our countries, and we thank our veterans very much. So I have a special selection that has been requested specifically for this occasion. It's When the Tigers Broke Free by Pink Floyd, and this one was actually written by Roger Waters about his father, Eric Fletcher Waters, who died during the Battle of Anzio in Italy during World War II. And it was written and recorded at the same time as the band was working on The Wall, but it was left out of that recording because the band thought that the song was too personal. And it ended up being included in the movie version of The Wall and released as a single when the movie came out. Now, I have still never seen the movie version of The Wall, perhaps sometime soon. But as I read in, this movie opens with this song, with its first verse, and then it's reprised later on when Pink discovers the correspondence from the British government that says his dad has been killed. And it's used in the story as a pretty significant plot point and catalyst as Pink descends into isolation and builds his wall, right? Later on, this song would go on to be included in studio reissues of their 1983 album, The Final Cut. But the version that we're going to listen to today is the one that's included on their compilation album called Echoes, The Best of Pink Floyd, released in 2001. As this one is the version that is the longest in duration, and it was the one that was specifically requested by one of our patrons for today's program. So although the song is released by Pink Floyd, it seems to be wholly created by Roger Waters. No other members of the band are credited as playing on the record. So we've got Roger handling the vocals. Michael Kamen arranged the song, and he conducted the musicians that play on it, which also include an all-male choir. So I am very interested to hear this for the very first time, y'all. I've never heard it before, and I'm eager to hear what this one sounds like. It's When the Tigers Broke Free by Pink Floyd. Off we go. You can imagine this setting the scene. Just wind. And some low sounds in the distance. There's nothing quite as solemn as brass in unison. With a humming male chorus.
It was just before dawn, one miserable morning. Black 44.
Okay.
When the forward commander was told to sit tight, when he asked that his men be withdrawn, and the generals gave thanks as the other ranks held back the enemy tanks for a while.
Lovely
The
alliteration.
Anzio bridgehead was held for the price of a few hundred ordinary lives.
What a way to start a story.
Kind old King George
Verse 2.
sent mother a note when he heard that father was gone. It was, I recall, in the form of a scroll with gold leaf and all. And I found it one day in a drawer of old photographs hidden away. And my eyes still grow damp to remember
Everything's
His
becoming
Majesty
a little more
signed
tangible
his
and
own
clear
rubber
musically.
stamp.
His Majesty signed with his own rubber stamp.
It was dark all around.
Up the octave.
There was frost in the ground when the tigers broke free. And no one survived from the Royal Fusiliers Company C. They were all left behind, most of them dead, the rest of them dying. And that's how the high command took my daddy from me.
And it's done. And that's how the high command took my daddy from me. He's taken it personally. And it cuts off. Because I'm sure it happened in an instant. And we take all this time to build up and build up and build up. And there's not much movement. Harmonically, it's basically a C chord, a couple of little maybe G chords, 5 chords that are around it, but it's kind of a 1 chord elegy sort of song. And it's shaped like a wedge. It just kind of starts like this and just moves and moves and moves and moves and gets bigger, and then whoosh, it's done. And man, that's, talk about personal. And old King George sent mother a note when he heard that father was gone. I recall, in the form of a scroll with gold leaf and all, and I found it one day in a drawer of old photographs hidden away, and my eyes still grow damp to remember that His Majesty signed with his own rubber stamp. As I understand it, y'all, this circumstance in the song where Pink finds the note from the king is based in Roger's own experience. Roger was trying on his father's old uniform when he found a letter of condolence from King George. And it was signed with a rubber stamp. And understandably, I think Roger found the replica signature disturbing, as his dad was the one who gave up his own life for his country and for the cause, and the king could only manage a rubber stamp instead of a personal signature to recognize the sacrifice that his dad had made. And, you know, the more that I have come to know and like and understand the music of Pink Floyd and that of Roger Waters, I realize just how important and shaping this experience has been for Roger, knowing that his dad was originally a conscientious objector to the war effort as it began, and then he changed his mind as the war expanded and grew on, and then his dad ended up paying the ultimate sacrifice when Roger was like less than 1 year old. This has affected and shaped Roger's view of the world as well as his politics for his entire life. And I'm just now getting to understand some of Roger's history with politics and his statements. So I'm going to stay away from that one because I don't know enough about it yet to say anything coherent about it. So I'm going to stay focused on just the song and Roger's support of veterans specifically. As I read in, Roger has a long track record of supporting veterans in his music and at his concerts. And if nothing else, this is a song that puts a personal touch onto the horrors of war and of the experiences that our veterans go through and what those experiences in war do to these people, do to veterans and their families. Roger is a case in point, right? For generations. Because to this day, I'm sure this is still just as palpable and effective and affecting for Roger as it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. I can't imagine ever taking up arms against another, y'all. That's the kind of person that I am. I'm a peace-loving person, and I'm thankful to never have been called on to be in a position to have to do that. Meanwhile, I'm really thankful for our veterans for shouldering those burdens on our behalf. I can't imagine the horrors that they've seen and what they shoulder for the rest of us. And so I thank them for their service and for their sacrifice. I thank their families for their sacrifice, and it's my honor to listen to a song like this and to take specific time to emote and think on it on a day such as this, as we remember our veterans around the world. So to all of you, I say thank you once again, and we're thinking about you, and we're just here emoting, and we're with you. And here's hoping that more peaceful solutions to our societies and our countries and our globe's problems can be found in the future. And so this type of trauma and sacrifice can become as rare as possible. That is my hope. And I thank you for being with me today for this special episode. It was important for me to make this episode today, and this song comes highly recommended. And what a poignant and personal, pointed lyric and little song it is. Really quite wonderful. I look forward to watching The Wall and seeing how this got put into context in the story of Pink. And maybe I'll end up doing that today or relatively soon, but I think that is all for this video. I thank you all for being with me, and we'll see you next time on another edition of The Daily Doug.